Is it time to ban animal testing is what we're asking. 0207 862 2222 is the number to give us a ring. A new YouGov poll published in today's Mirror says 7 out of 10 people would back a new law to end animal experiments in medical research. It's currently legal to test new prescription medicines on animals before testing them on humans. What's not allowed is using animals to test cosmetics, tobacco products or household items. Now, supporters of using animals to test for medical research say that a ban would severely affect vital work in areas such as cancer and dementia prevention. So with that in mind, whose side are you on? Peter?
Animal testing has come a very, very long way in this country. I remember in my lifetime seeing pictures of dogs on the front pages of our newspapers that were wearing masks and were being forced to smoke 40 cigarettes a day. Oh. Those days are long gone, fortunately. But it is absolutely essential that new medicines, as they are developed and they're tested before they are prescribed to human beings, are sometimes tested on animals. I would far rather a rat or a mouse, for example, is used to discover the unacceptable and dangerous side effects of a new medicine rather than them being given to humans who become ill. It's regrettable, but it's necessary.
Yasmin?
No, I don't. The planet doesn't belong to us humans. And this is something that's happened from the 18th century, that we've assumed that it's ours and we can do as we please. Absolutely agree with Peter and others who will probably phone in that essential research, medical research, needs some form of animal testing. I accept that.
But that is exactly what we do in this country.
But we stopped talking about it for far too long. There was a time when I think we were talking a lot about what was happening. I remember when I was at Oxford doing my degree there, and the demonstrations against the use of animals, they were using little monkeys, they were using, horrible tests on mice and so on. And we were rightly talking about it, and then it's kind of vanished. And I think it is time, and I'd agree with Steve Race, the Labour MP who's bringing this law, trying to bring a law in, saying there are better ways. We are a long way from that. There are all kinds of ways we can test products and medicines. Some of it will have to be tested on live animals, but we need to be looking at how we've let it slip.
But hold on, but when you say we've let it slip, actually what you've already said is we've come a long way from where we were in terms of we no longer test for cosmetics, we no longer test animals with tobacco products or household items. So we are just left with medical research, in which you're sort of in favour of.
But there are other forms of medical research.
So you want it tightened even further in terms of the medical, the animal testing is the last resort?
Look at the other options. We have new technology which can kind of create models. There are cellular bits of research that you can do with human skin. Mm-hmm. I just think this attitude that the animals were ours to do as we please kind of came and went, and I think the science community needs to be looked at again.
Well, you say that it came and went. We do ask animals to do a lot for us, even still today, in war, for example, and the police use dogs and things.
It got a bit better because, as Peter said, I remember that image of these dogs being made to smoke. But a lot of research at the moment is deeply cruel as well. And we have to find better ways. So I'm glad he's raising this, even if it doesn't go through.
OK, let's go to the callers then. Terry from Wiltshire, where do you stand when it comes to animal testing?
I'm 100% with the lady on the panel. I just think it's absolutely disgusting in today's day and age, the 21st century, that these animals are still being tested on. It's just so cruel. I mean, they've got thoughts, they've got feelings. They're not stupid at the end of the day. It's going to be like a monster coming to their cage every day with pokes and prods and needles and God knows what else. And I just can't believe that we're still here, like taking advantage of our lovely, beautiful animals. They've got souls, they've got thoughts, they've got feelings, and people need to, I know what you were saying, Storm, that it stopped with animal testing and stuff with cosmetics and things like that, that's still not completely ruled out. I mean, they are still being tested on. If you look at massive companies like, you know, all the expensive ones, sorry to name them, but...
Oh, we're sorry, Terry. You're absolutely right. There are many, many cosmetic companies and well-known brands that are testing on animals. That is absolutely true. Yeah. It's in this country that it's illegal. But Terry, you started by saying you agree with Yasmin. Yasmin agrees that there are times where animals will need to be used for medical research. She just thinks we need to really limit that to as minimal amount as possible. But it sounds like you would be anti-animals being tested on at all.
Completely, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with like most of what she said in terms of we seem to think we're like the elite of all beings on this planet, and we can just treat animals the way that we want to for our own selfish needs, whether that be cancer or whatever research. I mean, I don't think they should be tested on whatsoever, whether it's a rat, whether it's a monkey or anything. They've still got thoughts and feelings, and it should be stopped. Terry, thank you very much for your call. Lisa from Suffolk, do you agree with Terry there?
Yeah, I agree with Terry there. That they should ban the animal testing because that's cruel. Very cruel for the animal, and they don't deserve what they go through.
Lisa, Terry even brought up for selfish reasons like cancer treatment, and that's going to be a real difficult one for anyone at home that's watching a loved one or anyone at home going through cancer and the treatment involved in that. If your loved one, it's a difficult one, if you had a loved one that was going through cancer, wouldn't you want to know that they were having the best treatment possible, even if that meant that treatment had been tested on animals or animals were involved in the research of it?
In that way, yes. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying there, Storm. But that's just the other way of the cosmetics and stuff, and all the cosmetics, what they're doing.
The cosmetics in this country is already banned. You can't test cosmetics on animals. That's happening in other countries, but the products are being sold here, so you can be very careful about what makeup you choose to use if it's something that really concerns you and bothers you. Thank you for your call, Lisa. Sophie from Norwich, what's your view when it comes to animal testing?
I can understand possibly, testing on animals, as you quite right said, with cancer, as long as the animals are kept not in small cages like we used to see years ago, like the lady on the panel said, we all have these images of the beagles, testing out smoking. Well, we knew smoking was bad for you years and years and years ago. So why they kept doing that, I do not know. I'm vegan, so I'm against anything cruelty to animal whatsoever. I understand that some medication has to be done on animals, as long as those animals are kept in a good, happy place.
So a free-range condition, not cages in some sort of medical centre somewhere. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sophie,
treat the animals with, because these animals, they don't ask to be tested on. I mean, I'm personally, and I'm not going to say it because it's on TV, I know who should be tested with these.
Please don't say that, and we won't be encouraging it. But maybe that, we wouldn't encourage to test on humans, any human for that matter. So why are we doing it to animals? I suppose there is a feeling that our lives are more important than animals, which some of our callers would absolutely disagree with. But Yasmin, when you're thinking, I'm just thinking about that image of the dogs with the masks on their face being forced to smoke, however, 40 cigarettes a day. Is that image any worse than when you see cattle and animals being hauled along the motorway going to the slaughterhouse? No. And we do that every day. You're a meat eater, and so how are you balancing that?
But no, I don't. There is a hypocrisy embedded in this. I absolutely but it's not secret. We know what is happening, and animal welfare has got relatively better. It's not there yet. Eaten animals, I mean, animals we eat. The problem with this testing business is, especially with medical, because of confidentiality and competition between pharma companies and so on, we don't know. We haven't got a proper, I don't think, I may be wrong, a proper inspection system. And, you know, the one that really changed my mind was when I saw a documentary about the use of young monkeys in some, you know, were injected with these diseases. It was just them, they're our cousins.
Okay, so do you have a hierarchy for animals then? That the monkeys are higher than
mice? Some of it will have to happen, but we need proper inspections going on.
It's interesting that maybe the transparency isn't there in terms of what's actually happening in these medical centres, and it goes back to Sophie's point that maybe if these animals are sacrificing so much, the least we could do is keep them in a lovely environment where they're as happy as they can possibly be for a while. Sophie, thank you for your call. Elizabeth from Somerset, your view on this? Elizabeth, are you there?
Oh, I apologise. I'm here. Yes,
no, that's all right. What's your view on animal testing? Do we need to ban it altogether, or are there some instances where it's necessary?
It is not necessary at all. I've been campaigning against all animal testing for over 40 years. We've got a company in Huntington called MBR Acres. They breed annually about 2,000 beagle dogs to sell to the research industry. From 16 weeks old, these gentle little puppies are then sold into vans and sent to laboratories like LabCorp and different laboratories all over the country. They're mainly used in toxicity experiments, and then they face 90 days of pain injected with pesticides, raw chemicals, bleaches, cosmetics, anything. And again,
not cosmetics.
Do we remember thalidomide? We used bunnies. And they were the only animal to produce deformed infants, but we still put it out to pregnant women, and this is where thalidomide came from.
Elizabeth, I actually don't know the ins and outs of that, so I can't confirm and deny that as a fact, but very interesting all the same. However, we have used animal testing for years and years and years. We use it in medical research now, and despite the thalidomide example that you've just given, it has helped advance our knowledge on certain diseases and cures for those diseases. And surely we don't want to bring a close to that. I mean, if your family member was suffering from dementia or cancer, surely you would want the best kind of medicine out there for them. And if that meant testing on animals.
Both my parents died of cancer. I've got 3 sisters that died of cancer. I've got a half-sister that's got cancer and a brother-in-law. Of course, but while we're using innocent animals, that is just a false science, I'm afraid. Well, we're ever going to find a cure. We've got so much technology.
What's the other alternative, Elizabeth? Do we test on your family? Do we just try a remedy that we think might work and hope for the best?
We've got so much genetic and in our universities now that the kids don't want to be using animals, the students. Sure they can see that it's a false science. So why can't the people that are making all the money and the profit by using animals say, yeah, they're right. We've been testing on animals for hundreds of years and we're not getting anywhere closer.
Oh, I'd say medicine has advanced quite substantially. Whether that's down to animal testing or not, I do not know. But I'd say medical science has improved incredibly every day. I hear about a new cure for something or other, dementia or diabetes or something. Maybe not cures, but certainly advances in that department. But Elizabeth, I take your point, and maybe it doesn't work. Thank you very much for your call. Thanks for all your calls on this. We are going to have to move on now. I feel like we're speeding through this show after the break.